let's talk about some of your opponents, right? Talk about some of the matchups and the players that you thought were just the toughest guys, and also some of the toughest teams that you guys face. Who were some of the toughest one-on-one matchups? Gene, why don't you start?
Oh, man. So, we all had a game where you said, wow, that was me. Like, it could have been in the practice that translated into a game. Like, I recently watched the clip of Chuck in the game of his life. I think it was at the Spectrum, going to town on the Jamaican, Billy. Going to town.
I've seen it.
Right? So
I hope you didn't blink because you would have missed it. That's the whole thing.
Hey, we all have our moment. So for me, where I'm going with this is my moment came against the Villanova guard, Stewart Granger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Stewart, yeah.
And Stewart Granger was I think he might have been a senior when I was a freshman.
Yep.
He was, yeah.
And we beat them at McDonough. We wasn't supposed to beat them. That's when John Pannone was there, Alex Bradley. And I had what, for whatever reason, the papers thought was a good game. And I got, this was in the local paper, in the Post. And I got a little, next day, Billy, Hoyas star on the rise. So clearly my stat line was probably, 16 minutes, 2 steals, 6 fouls, or what, but whatever, I made an impact on the game. And I just remember it was against Stewart Granger. But listen, man, individual opponents, team opponents, hands down, during the 80s, the 90s, man, every day you was getting your ass handed to you by somebody.
Yeah. And you guys got everybody's best effort, Gene, because everybody was out to get you guys. So everybody brought their best game to play the Hoyas.
But Chuck, you still was only winning by 6 points, 7 points.
Right.
It's a dogfight.
Oh, yeah.
The Palestra?
Hate that place.
I hated that place.
Hate it.
Mm-hmm. That game we played you, it was my freshman year, so I guess you were a sophomore. And we were down 5 with like 40 seconds to go. And we won the game. And I've never been in an event where the whole crowd was on the court in about 30 seconds, less than that. It looked like when I'm a Yankee fan, looked like when Chris Chambliss hit the home run and everybody mobbed him and he couldn't get around. It was. I'm sure
you were thinking about us with all that love we got back on campus.
Listen, I said I hope they got back in their locker room okay. There was people all over the place, man.
So, but Dan Calandrillo, I was lucky enough to play against at Seton Hall when he was a senior. John Bagley. And then for me, I'm in every Pearl Washington highlight video.
I was kind of hoping you were going there. So
I want to tell you, I am so disappointed in myself. I ran into Pearl. Rest in peace. I'm a Pearl guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't then, but I am now. I'm a Pearl guy. I ran into Pearl the last time Georgetown and Syracuse played in the Big East. The old,
yes.
Not the old Big East, but the newer old Big East.
Yep.
And I saw Pearl coming in, and he saw me. And we went, he had on the fur, he was clean, man. I had on the Georgetown suit. But Chuck, I should have taken the picture.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's almost like maybe I didn't because I just wanted that moment to just be in my memory. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's special moments, And that's between you and him.
So I can't, for me, having the chance to, and this guy was a freshman when I played against him?
He was a freshman, 80. Yeah, he was a freshman your senior year.
Freshman, so I got his first year.
Yeah.
And, regardless of what he did in the pros, but again, we had certain people in the Big East, and I include Billy Martin in that, but just made the Big East, what it was. So that's why something like this is so cool, because we can talk about rivalry. Every game was a rivalry. We ain't like nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, everybody. I mean, playing BC back in the old BC days.
Yeah,
the
that
fans
little
were
arena
on the sideline like this, Billy. They were touching you. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, legendary games, legendary fans, legendary league.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I was almost when they went to the Louisvilles and all that shit. I was still a purist.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So was I. When we left, I was disappointed.
I was disappointed. I'm so glad Penn State never got in because Penn State was supposed to go to the Big East.
Penn State would have ruined it. Well, Penn State also was talking about starting a football conference, and Syracuse was going to go. But when Pittsburgh joined the Big East, that was one of the happiest days in Syracuse because we were not going. We're not going with Pittsburgh and Penn State to some football conference. We're staying in this elite basketball league. Thank God.
But I think we, if you guys really want this podcast to pop, I guess we should really act like we don't like each other.
Yep. What about you, Bill? What were some of the matchups that gave you a hard time?
Well, to piggyback on what Gene said, you think about 81 through 85, Villanova, St. John's, Syracuse, all in the top 10 almost every year. Almost every team we played against in the Big East, was a rival. There was, because we could lose, and but I got to tell you, one of the people that gave me the most problems was Harold Presley.
Yeah,
we were built pretty much the same, and we had similar games. So Harold was a little bit more polished. I mean, he had some stuff around the basket. I mean, just goofy stuff. He contort his body and finish stuff. You play him well, and all of a sudden he comes up with something. You'd be like, damn. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah.
But Harold was one. The other one, I've lost you guys.
No, we're good.
We can hear you.
Okay. What the hell happened? Oh yeah,
Gene.
I would say Harold was one. Walter Berry with St. John's.
He killed everybody.
Was a problem. He gave me fits because he was, my size, a little bit bigger, and a much better athlete. The guy was strong and could finish plays. And what the hell happened?
No, you're good.
You're good, Bill. And let's see who else. This is a long list of names. I think back to when I was a freshman, and we went to the finals against North Carolina, and I'm looking out there on the floor, and I'm like, man, if he put me in the game, who the hell am I going to have to guard? And they put me out, and I got to guard James Worthy. But James was killing everybody. He was the MVP of the game. What chance did I have? But I remember that because that's one of the few times I went into a game so nervous that I had no chance of performing well. It was ugly. And then there was Wendell up at Syracuse, and I played against Wendell and Raphael overseas. But Wendell was another guy, he was slight, he's a little bigger than I was, 6'9" maybe, and not a real, athletic or aggressive guy, but he was very polished and very skilled, and he'd always be problems.
Smooth.
Yeah,
he was smooth. You're right, but you're right. You're right. It's a perfect description. But he had a nice tool belt. He had a nice, a nice set of things he could go to. But he was a guy. Gene, you want to talk about guys that coaches get on? Coach was on him. Coach Boeheim was on him like day one. Ooh. Some days I was like, man, I'm not doing great, but I'm glad I'm not Wendell.
Sonny, are you guys still surprised? Are you guys surprised he's still at it?
Coach B?
No.
No, I think he's going to coach 10 more years.
Good Lord. That's
unbelievable.
I do. I mean,
his run is unbelievable.
I mean, 45 years, he looks better actually today than he has 15 years ago. I mean, he's in really good shape. He lives and breathes the game. Other than playing golf, I don't think he has any other things he does.
My best Boeheim story. Everything goes back to the '84 Big East championship game. Is after the game, Chuck at the press conference.
That was a beautiful moment.
But the thing is, the way he hurled the chair, it was like a stunt double. Like he did it like so methodically. And then he said, "The best team did not win today. Let me find a chair that I can pick up."
Yeah, he did. He did kind of a little thing like this. I remember it. That wasn't a 007 move.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
He was. Look, that I had 2-3 zone nightmares. I hated that fucking zone. Hated it.
You know what's funny though, Gene? I thought when you see with Coach Thompson, I'm going to go back to that for a second. It seemed like he had a different relationship with you. You could see him talking to you, right, as the captain. It always seems like he did he use you to vocalize to the other players, because it seemed like you guys had a special connection.
I probably thought that then, and as I look at it now, I think he just likes to have somebody come over there and come on over, come, because Billy will tell you this. I'm deaf in my left ear. So if you see Coach talking to me in my left ear, I can't hear a thing. And I know as I got to be a junior and senior, I did that.
You get smarter as you get older, Gene.
Well, listen, I mean, Chuck, I played 16 minutes a game my freshman year, 10 minutes a game my sophomore year, and then 20 whatever my junior and senior year. I made the most of every minute I was on the court. Yeah. And I think I can say that about everybody on this call. I mean, I listened to Billy talk about himself playing out of position. This is a cat who had 1,300 points, over 700 rebounds.
Yeah, he was a stud.
Playing out of position. So I'm like, just, Billy, we're ruining the image of Hoyas. Completely destroying it.
Yeah, you guys are coming off as nice guys. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. I told you, Sonny, they were good guys.
I know. No, I heard that as well. Even though we have never spent a lot of time talking, because at the Big East luncheon, as Chuck says, when we got a chance to talk to you guys, there was no talking. There's no talking.
But guys, think about the coaches we had, all of us.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, they're all character. Massimino.
Yeah.
I mean, when he get to doing his, I want to play for that guy.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned it. We talked about the final. Was it the Final Four in the Big East Championship? Was Carnesecca, Massimino, Thompson, and Boeheim.
Yeah. Back then, that seemed to be it.
That's Mount Rushmore back then. Wow. In the 80s.
Talk about how electric the Garden was, Gene, when we came in to play in the Big East tournament, especially that final, that Friday, Saturday night games, the Final Four games. I thought the electricity in that building was nothing like I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah, so like when you guys bust in, you guys were staying in probably Syracuse, so you drove in.
Would you guys leave at like 8 in the morning for a 7 o'clock game?
Because you couldn't be near the city, so your 6-hour bus ride into the Garden.
Man.
I think, look, okay, so I'm the only one on the call that played in the Big East tournament that wasn't in the Garden.
Yeah.
No. Well, Billy played probably when it was in Providence.
No, Billy.
I was at the Garden.
No, Billy, you got Providence. No, Billy got 82. Yeah,
the Hartford. Excuse me.
Hartford.
Yeah, first year was in Hartford. Yeah, I remember that. Freshman year was Hartford. But go ahead.
To address Chuck's, there was nothing like it.
Oh, the Garden was amazing. Yeah,
the Garden was freaking amazing. And again, we just I can only imagine what it was like, obviously before COVID, but in today. Because then it was just getting started, but they had the Wall Street cats in there, and then the entertainment people in there. I mean, everybody was there, and it was just electric. Like you didn't have time to not be ready. Like you, so to see what it's turned into, you have more of an appreciation for it. But I mean, guys, I I have to share this, and I'm sure Billy will echo it. Man, the games were such a relief for us from practice, man. We were just so happy to play in a game and not against each other, because you had everybody on the team like just hungry. And I mean, our wars in the team, our practices were insane.
Oh, it had to be.
I remember the practices just as much as I remember the games. And because there was a time where very few times, and I don't know how it was with you guys, there were very few times where we knew he was satisfied. Like he knew he had a crew. So kind of like maybe we'd get a weekend off or something off, and it was worth everything else to me, because because if you got 17, 18 young kids and you're trying to mold them into something, we all know all it takes is one bad apple.
Yep.
Can mess up. I mean, there are teams that were better than our team that won the championship. Better. The 85 team is the best team ever, Joseph. That's not debatable. And we talking to somebody on this call that got something to do with that. I'm trying to blemish that.
All right, we'll segue into that, Chuck. That's a good segue. Go ahead, keep going.
Listen, with the 85 thing, I just wanted to know what you guys thought of having 3 teams in the Final Four that year, what that meant for us as a conference. And to be honest with you, and we've said this on other shows that we've done, if you guys were playing somebody outside the Big East, in the tournament or whatever, we would root for you guys, or we would root for the Orange Men or the Johnnies or what have you. But Bill, talk about what that meant to have 3 teams out of 4. And it was almost 4 out of 4. If Boston College, they made a shot, Memphis made a shot late against Boston College and they lost. But talk about what that meant for the league and for the guys that played in the league.
Well, it's an testament to how good the conference was that year. Again, all these teams were, in the top 10 or 15 all year, and so it was kind of I can't think of the word right now, but it kind of bolstered our opinion that our conference was the best in the country. And then people were saying it at that time, but people still thought about the ACC and the Big Ten. But with all 3 of those teams making it to the Final Four and the 4th one being 1 game away, it pretty much solidified in the national conscience that the Big East was the best conference in the country. I don't even know that it's been done since the 3 teams.
I don't think so.
Have made it to the Final Four, and it's just it was a great source of pride. I mean, we took a lot of pride with that, and it was great for the conference. It was great for for everybody involved. It was like a crowning moment for the Big East, in my opinion. I don't know that they've reached a loftier height than that. When you look at where the league came from and how it just built this brand. All the teams over the years went from small stadiums to big stadiums. Everybody got TV contracts. And then, in 85 to have 3 of the conference's teams in the Final Four. We weren't happy about it. We loved playing against St. John's. We were not happy about playing Villanova.
No, it's funny you said that, because if you hook this all up to a lie detector, we were rooting for you guys to beat St. John's because we hated playing St. John's.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We couldn't handle Walter. We couldn't handle Chris. We had a problem with the lefties. And we were all rooting for you guys to beat St. John's. And we had Ronnie Stewart on the other day, and that episode comes out tomorrow. And Ronnie was saying, "Oh God, all we want to do now." They were so happy that we beat Memphis. They said, "All we got to do now is get past this juggernaut called the Hoyas. If we can do that, we got a ring." They never got there, though.
Yeah. Well,
how about the 84 championship team, right? Gene, your senior year. Billy was your sophomore year, right? Or excuse me, your junior year, right? So talk about that, because you guys had come so close in the 81-82 season, and now you have an opportunity, and you just obliterated, right? They were not competitive. That was an impressive national championship. What did that mean when Coach Thompson got that ring?
Yeah, it meant I think that was the crowning moment. That was the first crowning moment for the Big East, because Georgetown was the first Big East school to win a ring.
Right. Yep.
The 82 joint to me still is, I mean, that team, just the personalities involved. We were
Sleepy,
led, and then we had that freshman class from outer space, right? Anthony Jones, Billy Martin, Ralph Dalton, Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts. And you combine that with I think we had 6 seniors. And the thing about, at Georgetown, seniority ruled. So nobody was going to ask you to get up, because that's just some bullshit. But, you might have to do something. Like, we had to get the bags most of the time. I mean, nobody's just going to drop their bag, but if there was extra stuff, that was your job. And that, that was trickled down. I mean, there was a culture there that was so, deep, but it also gave you something to be a part of, which was, which was kind of cool. But I just want to go back to being 1 year removed in that 85, having those 3 teams there. Pride, just you're proud. Again, because, East Coast, East Coast was, there was ECAC, that wasn't sexy. The Big East was sexy.
Right.
And
good point.
We had the West Coast kids catching our games at 4:00 in the afternoon going nuts. So to have that happen, man, it was just, insane. Like, you couldn't have been more proud.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the Big East, man, it's an incredible conference. I just want to make sure we don't forget. Hey, Chuck, we got y'all tomorrow, though. Just so you know, 12:00, baby.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Oh, be ready, baby. Listen,
ready. We got nobody left. Everybody's out. I hope you got us.
You still Villanova. Okay. I'm just letting you. I'm just letting you know. I'm ready.
I didn't realize that was tomorrow at 12. Okay, good.
Tomorrow at 12, Billy. Tomorrow at 12, baby.
Tomorrow at 12, I'll be working.
There you go. See,
I'll watch. I'll text you.
What do you guys got going?
So gotta ask you guys, Gene, what are you up to these days? What are you doing?
So I am a brand new dad. So
I see that.
Anything and everything I'm doing pales in comparisons to this. But I'm a footwear and apparel consultant. So my business, for the most part, I work with big brands. I work with smaller brands. And I consult them on, distribution strategy, marketplace strategies, branding strategies. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I had a 20-year career with Nike, which led me into a perfect segue to kind of have my own consulting firm. And
that's
living
great.
in LA. And yeah, that's my deal. Rooting for the Hoyas, man. I'm a Hoya, and I have a podcast. I guess I should pump that. Hoya Locker Room. Every Sunday, a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new, nostalgia, but Hoya specific, but a lot of DMV stuff. So I do that every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Great
Facebook,
stuff.
Twitter, Instagram.
Great stuff. How about you, Billy?
I just plugged myself for the first time, Chuck.
That's great. That's a shameless plug. That's great. We allow that.
Man. And Gene, I just want you to know I haven't been seeing this because I've been working overtime. It's the winter season. But I work in insurance. I'm an adjuster for State Farm. And
no kidding.
I've been doing it for a few years. But for most of my career, I was in sales, and the hours got too long, and the money got too short with the economy and stuff. And so I moved on. It was the best decision I ever made. And you've been working from home. Also, assistant high school basketball coach here in one of the private schools, and try to help the kids out. And so, I managed to stay busy. I got a 16-year-old here, you know, my daughter is working from home. My wife's on the road. She's down in Texas. So I'm like a single dad. And, you know, I got cats and I got the plants and I got, you know, I got this house thing behind the main. And, but, you know, it's just chilling, man. I'm just, you know, a few more years and then, you know, it's going to be somewhere warm with a palm tree and a coconut drink, you know, and forget the world.
I got a spot for you, Billy, but you know, it's on the hush right now. It's on the hush hush. I got one. Got something for you. And Chuck and Sonny, you're invited too, but it's on the hush hush right now.
All right.
Okay.
Good. So listen, we ran a little long, but I just gotta finish up with this. You know, I know on that 84 team again, I want to go back to that team because
I'm sorry,
I don't think you guys get enough credit for how good you were back then. You know, they talk about 82, they talk about 85, but you don't get enough love, in my opinion, for the 84 championship run that you had. You know, you had the big enforcer in the middle that he had the game of his life against Houston. You know, you had Reggie that had a coming out party at that time. You talk about that a little bit. The Final Four. You guys, you played a Kentucky team that you demolished. The picture that comes to my mind is Patrick posterized some poor bastard that tried to get underneath them, and he almost ripped the backboard down on that dunk. I was like, "Oh, these guys are for real. They're not losing against Olajuwon and them." Talk about that,
Billy. I'm going to take this one, Billy. You can back me up. So that was Billy's junior year. And Billy might have been in the starting lineup for part of that or some of that. Am I?
You mean the year? Not the game.
Junior year. Did you start it all junior year?
Yeah, second half.
Second half.
The second half.
Second half. So Reggie started the first 11 games of the season that year. And then we had some house cleaning to take care of. You know, and then we came back as a little bit different. And then Billy might have been in the starting lineup. I don't remember. I don't even remember Reggie starting those 11 games. But the point I'm trying to make is it wasn't like we started off with national championship aspirations because that was built into the program, right? So every year that was always the goal, but you can kind of do an assessment yourself. So it's not like 83, 84 was banging. We had talent. You know, Reggie as a freshman was dope. Michael and David were coming into their own. Billy had started the bulk of his career. Graham really during the first half of the year was kind of like nothing.
Wasn't existent, really. I mean, then all of a sudden he was like a house on fire, you know?
So it's just one of those deals where it just came together at the right time. The Kentucky game, I don't know how often we came from behind that year, but we certainly didn't get rattled when they got out ahead of us. But Graham during the Final Four is just, you know, like, again, that's just one of those things that happens. And when you say we don't get enough credit, you're probably right. Because
overshadowed.
Yeah. Wingate and David were solid. Like MJ could give you 30 and, you know, and don't even look like he's sweating, like he's moonwalking. And as an assist cat, but then we had Horace Broadnax coming off the bench.
Horace, yeah.
Jump shooter. And then you had this mad Gene Hackman coming off the bench. And we pressed, like we like to press. And we could win the game ugly, like a lot of ugly games. But it just fit. I mean, everything fit. It was magical, yo. I can't. You know, I've never really thought about it, Chuck. Like, to be honest with you, because I'm stuck on 82. I am. I'm not gonna lie. I'm stuck on 82. I love that 82 team, and you know Yeah, because I only played 10 minutes a game. I had nothing to do with it.
No, I know the feeling.
So Billy, what was the championship team like to you? I'd love to hear what you.
Listen. In 1984, again, was my junior year. Was the toughest year of to that point. of my basketball career. And John saw something in me that he wanted to get out, and that whole year was him pushing me and prodding me, taking me in and out of the lineup, putting me back in when he can. But we were so talented, Gene. You know, in my position, we had 4 power forwards that we could use. You know, you had Brown, you had Michael, you had myself, you had a couple of other guys, you know, that you could have used. And it was so competitive. It was so competitive that when you made a mistake in the game, you almost inevitably looked over to see who was at the table, because you only get one. You know, if you're going good and you make a mistake or something happened, all right, he can give you a couple more minutes. But
Billy, the flip side of that, if you're on the bench and somebody slip up,
I'm coming in. But that's how it was. That's my memory of that year. And but it was cool because the fact that it was so hard made everybody cool with everybody else. You know, and it was like, okay, you know, we all want to play. You know, we got to get through this practice. You know, we got to do those sprints, and it brought us together. And at the end, you know, those 2 games was the culmination of everything. You know, that Kentucky game was a show of defensive prowess. They went 3 for 33 the second half. They had us down by 10 at halftime, and they couldn't get the ball over half court. And when they did, people were swatting shit at the basket. I'm like, oh my God, we're killing them. And it was crazy. It was crazy. Before I knew it, the game was over. And we go to you know, the next game against Houston. And you look down there, you see Akeem, you know, people forget Akeem was in the Final Four 3 years too, out of 4. He never got to the final until that year. He didn't win any, but man, just watching him, you know, he was amazing. And then you look down the list of guys that they had on their roster, you know, Michael Young, Kellen Winslow, Cadillac Anderson, Benny Anders.
Benny Anderson, yeah.
They had a crew. And but again, you know, like the Kentucky game was defense. The Houston game was total domination. You know, our offense was so effective, so efficient. Our defense was just good enough. We turned the ball over when we needed to. And the game never really felt in doubt. It never really felt in doubt. And, you know, and then you had people step up. It's when the talent came through. You know, Michael Graham in that game looked like an NBA All-Star.
He was a beast.
He was walking on people, high-fiving.
He was having too much fun.
I mean,
too much fun.
Energy, you know, and you know, I don't, you know, everybody on that team. I mean, we had so much energy, so much adrenaline flowing through our brain, you know, our veins. When you see, you know, Pat come down and make a move and dunk on somebody and high five. I mean, it's, you know, the Houston game was a celebration of everything that was Georgetown. And it was great. It was
right. And Coach Thompson with Freddie Brown after the game was redeeming.
Let's take that sentimental stuff for last. The thing that I want to piggyback on Billy, that Billy said, and it's something about Patrick. It's something about the Jamaican. To have him be your best player, and Billy, please, you probably have a story that I don't have.
Listen,
I've never seen anybody that was your best player celebrate somebody else's success like more than their own. Like that dunk you were talking about, Chuck, that was on poor Jim Masters.
All right, Jim.
I remember
that he should have went to jail for that. But Billy, I'm like, if you see some stills of Patrick, somebody scoring the bucket, Patrick would literally take your hand off with a high five.
I was getting ready to say, you look at that dunk that Michael got. Michael got a little drop pass on the baseline and just went up and
tomahawked it,
you know, and everybody around him. And Pat jumped higher than Michael did, trying to high five me. He was so excited. I mean, but you know, it's that kind of energy and that kind of adrenaline that drove us. I mean, you know, it was great. It was great. I'm getting pumped up just thinking about it.
And then as Sonny brought up, Coach Thompson, with the hug with Fred Brown after what happened in '82, that said a lot about Coach and about
special.
his
special
perseverance and how he overcame what happened to him.
And think about it, right? Because what you're describing was actually what there was such joy and exuberant emotion that a lot of the country had not seen from you guys, right? And then Thompson thinks enough of Fred to have that special moment. I wasn't part of it, but I guarantee you that was something that was eating at him to be able to satisfy that for that young man and change his life. It's just it's something that coaches are able to do, the special ones, and Coach Thompson was a special one.
Well said, Sonny. Well said.
And that's an Orangeman talking.
That's Well said. Well said. Well said.
Took me a while, but it's true.
Listen, guys, unfortunately, we ran a little long and we're out of time. But I have to tell you, this was probably the most fun show we've had together. And talking to you guys and laughing and joking and kicking it about the old school Big East was fantastic, man. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on. And tell your teammates we're okay. It's not a big rival thing. It's all right. We want to have other Hoyas in here.
Yes, we do.
So we
appreciate what they say about the
Nova
guys and the Orangemen. You guys are cool with me. You cool with cool with us Hoyas.
Happy guys, I appreciate it. It's wonderful seeing you guys.
Good to see you.
Salute.
So this has been the Big East Rewind with Chuck Everson and Sonny Spera. The Big East Rewind, of course, has been produced and directed by Nick Chico Chorus and Daryl Gurney. You can catch us on YouTube. When you go check us out on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe. You also can get the podcast on Spotify and everywhere else you get podcasts from, on iTunes and everywhere else. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, or any comments, please address them to bigeastrewind@gmail.com. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.